friends, we were discussing about the current affairs in which we saw there were various cases of motor vehicle accidents on the roadside. So, these cases leads to a worrisome situation over the government agencies, transportation and logistic classes. So, in order to tackle the situation of accidents, Government of India framed a Motor Vehicle Act 2019. Further, Government of India also look at a Vision Zero document in order to reduce the accident to a zero level. Government has provided for the strategy to address the accidents by issue of road safety, providing the framework of national collaboration on road safety network. And the Vision Zero document provide for the education, publicity, awareness and campaigning through engineering both on roads as well as enforcement of emergency cases. Now, the impact of road accident can be seen in a vision that expenses on prolonged term of injuries are there. Then there are cases of loss of productivity to the injured member, and people who are accidented, he is facing threat to the light and he is not able to go for the job, therefore the productivity declines. So, productivity loss, then deterioration of the standard of living, life standard also get reduced and it declines to a lower level. Then there is a strain in the health insurance and legal system. Legal system and health insurance also get problem. Then adverse impact on the women due to extra work and responsibility. So, there is also a women challenge. So, in order to tackle all these issues, Government of India proposed a Motor Vehicle Act in order to have safety, security on the roads and having a proper driving license for anybody who is having a two-wheeler or four-wheeler driving. Then any kind of vehicle, if someone is driving, then he must have a vehicle framework for having a system, national registration for the drivers. Then there is a system of registration for compulsory licensing and electronic surveillance for the drivers via RFID and monitoring. Next part goes for the Motor Vehicle Act of 2019, which aims for empowering the state government, again a part of federal structure. So, agenda of federalism goes when the strengthening enforcement and improving road safety is there. It improves the simplification of citizen and facilitation of citizen, automation and computerization of the roads network, GPS networking and RFID and FASTag. Then strengthening public transport by providing better roads and transport and connectivity. Speedy assistance to accident victims, people who got accident by any chances, they have their speedy claim so that they can be taken to the nearby hospital and immediate health protection should be provided to him. Earlier there was a mandatory police verification that was needed in order to care any kind of patient who are admitted in the hospital. Now that provision has been removed from the clause by amending the Motor Vehicle Amendment Act of 2019. Now, next part of rural employment, that is provided through MGNREGA Act, Mahatma Gandhi National Rural Employment Guarantee Act, which provides for a better care of the rural people, unemployed youth, and providing a 300 days of paid employment guarantee to the rural people. So, 90% of the allocated budget from the year goes for less investment than the MGNREGA fund has not been able to get invested, then remaining payment of MGNREGA workers cost unless a state and their own funds. Now, MGNREGA demands driven wage employment program under the Ministry of Rural Development, ग्रामीण विकास मंत्रालय के अंतर्गत मनरेगा को फंडिंग की जाती है एंड इट गोज फॉर द स्टेट्स and union territories also. Further, it goes to the districts by DMs and goes to the blocks. In this way, the funds has been distributed through MGNREGA. One of the core objectives of MGNREGA are creation of productive asset, prescribed quality and durability, strengthen the livelihood resource based on the poor, proactively ensuring social inclusion, and strengthens the Panchayati Raj system. So, what are the core components of MGNREGA? Providing a paid employment to the rural youth who are unskilled as well as skilled, providing a Panchayati Raj funding to the Panchayati Raj bodies, and also provide durability and livelihood to the poor people of the village areas and deprived class of the society and vulnerable sections. It also have bottom up approach, people centered and self selecting method. It also has plans and decision regarding the nature and choices of decision taken. It also provides to assessment of Gram Panchayat and development of the rural local bodies. It also assess the creation of program including work related to natural resource development and distribution of the natural resources, resource conservation, land development and irrigation system. Besides this, it also works for the development of dams and development of irrigation channels, ponds, wells and Anganwadi centers. Therefore, MGNREGA acts as a parlance for the development of village based economy. It also acts the rural bodies to work for the development of various sectors. It also aims to conservation of tribal areas in the areas where tribals are struggling for forest rights and issues of their forest development. So, these are all part of MGNREGA, and it also helps the Anganwadi workers to look into various aspects of the development strategies. So, we should look at how MGNREGA is work in terms of states and union territories. 21 of 35 states are having funding from MGNREGA. Himachal Pradesh having 135.2%, Uttar Pradesh 97.2%, Telangana again is lacking in the middle, and Andhra Pradesh 137 crores funding, Tamil Nadu 139, Kerala 127. So, we see that how the fund allocation has been different to the different states, and that is percentage wise allocation through this chart. Use this data in your mains point of view, in your essay writing as well as in your GS paper 3 as well as GS paper 1. You can use this data to make your answer more substantial and more objective in order to fetch better marks. Now, MGNREGA has been provided a tracker from MGNREGA tracker by Management Information System, and MGNREGA Soft is a local language enabled workflow by e-governance module. It also provides a project Life MGNREGA, that is livelihood, full employment and procurement of the workers in order to have better life cycle, better livelihood, better job opportunity, better connectivity with the government and better implementation of the strategies that are provided by the government, that are all part of MGNREGA, that generates livelihood of the worker and improves the conditions. Now, we see that there are wage gap between workers in 50% of the Cs and SCs payment that completed in 7 years in the less time of 25%, which rises from April, which was below zero level, and goes to 75% in a transaction completed in 7 days. So, in the period of COVID lockdown, we see that the people who were migrating from cities to the rural areas were able to get employment at their rural sector by having a MGNREGA based system. MGNREGA is a formal system in which any person in a rural area can have 100 days of sure short paid employment guarantee in any kind of sector such as canal development, irrigation project, rice mills and roads, any kind of village level projects. Now, 71% of payments were the part mandated to 7 days period at central government, 44% exceeded the 15 days period, Demand suppression was also provided to the rural workers, where rural workers were able to fetch a high gross of demand, they were able to work accordingly, and there was a caste based payment delayed by 87% of non-SCs and non-STs people. Then caste based tension among MGNREGA workers. Under the scheme, union government takes the fund transfer orders and provide to the scheduled caste and scheduled tribe categories and improve the capacity development, improve their potential, improve their employability, improve their working condition, improve their life chances, and improve their health and hygiene. It also aims for the women empowerment by providing the rural women better choices to get employed at various projects at the village level. It also has awareness and capacity among the rural citizen. Rural people get further more and more informed part of the Indian society. They become more and more aware about the government schemes and policies and get benefited from it by capacity building. Now, Global Multidimensional Poverty Index, why it is in news? So, poverty reduction is a part of again Sustainable Development Goal. UNSDG का पार्ट है poverty reduction. Now, Global Multidimensional Poverty Index aims from the Oxford Poverty and Human Development Initiative. It has United Nations and 34 kind of visions, that is Oxford Poverty and Human Development Initiative, that is a part within the Oxford Department of International Development and University of Oxford. Now, that aims for the United Nations organization to reduce the global poverty, hunger reduction and reduction of the various issues such as sustainable development, democratic governance, climate resilience and disaster management. And where is the headquarters? That is point of view, that is New York is a city where the headquarters is located, USA, UNDP. Now, what are the development programs? It provides a global multidimensional poverty index. It looks into the measures to improve the life of the people by improving their employment, their life conditions, health and sanitation, their job criteria and their various aspects of life. It also provides the poverty measures allows to look into the home experience of deprivation at the same level. So, it also aims to improve the life of the poor people by acting at a condition where people are facing deprivation, inequalities and reduction into their social criteria. That is why it becomes very, very important. Now, next part is what are the dimensions of poverty. So, there is categorization in the index which shows that there is a health situation. So, when there is poverty, people are not able to look into their health situation, that is nutrition, deprivation and child mortality is there. So, adult under 70 years of age having malnutrition and child below 18 years of age died in the family in 5 years period presiding in the survey. So, next part goes for the education. First is the health, second is education. So, it leads to reduction of year of schooling. So, schooling year if not improved, that it leads to reduction in the data of education, and that again makes for the reduction in the education system, and that is again no household member goes for school entrance age plus 6 years of period older has completed at least 6 years of schooling. And school attendance, that looks into the admission and presence of a student in the school. The school age child is attending school up to age at which he or she could have gone to class 8th. That means any person has gone to class 8th is recognized under the school attendance scheme. Now, other parameter constitute of standard of living. So, what are living standard? Cooking fuel, household cooks are dung, wood, charcoal and coal, that goes for 1/18. Sanitation, how far a house is working for the sanitation measures, cleanliness and hygiene. So, under SDG guidelines, a facility for sanitation is again added. Next part is drinking water. So, how the drinking water becomes a source of better life and livelihood, that again a part of this scheme. And under sustainable development goal, the drinking water is at 30 minutes walk from the home round the trip. The next part is electricity, that goes for the households has no electricity, that means the household is depriving. And next is housing. So, if a family is not having any house, its survival is very crucial, and the family lives in a rented house, that again makes a part of challenge for the system. Roof, walls and floors are inadequate, then floor is a natural material and a roof and walls of the natural rudimentary material. Now, last part is the assets. What are the assets? The household has owned more than one of these assets in terms of television, radio, telephone, computer, animal cart, bicycle, motorcycle, refrigerator, and does not own car or truck. So, these are part of this global multidimensional poverty index. Remember these facts for your prelims as well as mains point of view. Code this in your answer writing whenever you are writing any essay on the social issues, poverty, hunger and inequality. You can use this in your essay writing, you can use this in GS paper 1 social issues and ethics paper also. Now, what are the highlights of global multidimensional index? That examines inequality among the lines of ethnicity and caste, gender across multidimensional poor people. It also dissipates the COVID scenario in which the people's situation has been engraved. It also aims for ethnicity of race for 40 countries with availability of information, by caste for India and by gender of the household for 108 countries. So, separate categorization has been made by global multidimensional index to look into the poverty situation. Why caste has been added in India? Because India has a different socio-economic structure, and that depends on the caste structure of society, and that again makes for work and income situation. So, therefore, caste has been significant in terms of other welfare outcomes, and lack of education and occupation has been other part of the multidimensional poverty index, which looks into the various aspects and criteria for the development and distribution of funds. Then there is usually illiterate, landless and mean to serve in the impure scenario. That is again a part of multidimensional poverty index, that caste of Dalits were totally eradicated from the social institution. Now, next part is Reserve Bank of India have a monetary policy review. So, Reserve Bank of India having a monetary policy review, which shows that repo rate to be kept at 4% and reverse repo rate at 3.35%. Then new term was launched, that variable reverse repo rate VRRR, that I also taught you in the economy survey class, that how the reverse repo rate and its variability acts as a channel to channelize the funds from banks to the RBI back. So, earlier the reverse repo rate was acting as a only case to return the money back to the RBI. Now, banks are provided with a variable reverse repo rate operation, in which banks can propagate a certain reverse repo rate on which they can make a common agreement and they can return certain amount of money which they want to give back to the RBI. Remember this fact, very important for this year prelims and mains also. What are the key decisions? Suspension of buying secondary market bonds with the withdrawal access to the liquidity, and government security acquisition program, that is GSAP, was also included to include the window liquidity through vehicle, RBI bonds, sovereign papers, that is sovereign gold bonds and other sovereign papers. It also looks into the banking system. Further, it provides liquidity from fixed proposal to a period of 14 days variable rate, that is variable reverse repo rate for a 14 days period, and every fortnight from the current account to the 4 trillion account. Now, variable reverse repo rate to be auctioned in the trillions stayed by the December, and it takes a second stage where the VRRR auctions are launched. Then there are 7 days VRRR, and there are open market operations in which the liquidity can be turned. Then installment of immediate payment system, IPS system, that are needed to be increased at immediate level from 2 lakh to 5 lakh rupees. And this also promotes the development of Reserve Bank's issue and agendas to propagate more and more fund infusion into the market and have more and more profit from the investment. IPS provide 24/7 instant connection and works for the transfer of fund facility through various channels like internet banking, mobile banking, bank branches, ATM, SMS, IRS also. Remember this fact. Then there is National Payment Corporation India, NPCI, that looks into the transaction and takes into account that how far its transaction is being done, what is the scenario under which various transactions are taken into process. Then there is internal ombudsman scheme for NBFCs, that was again in news because we see that earlier there was the IL&FS crisis, and that crisis led to devolution of lots of money and fund infusion in the various projects by a non-banking financial company. Now, that financial company goes into straight hand of the Reserve Bank of India under the ombudsman scheme launched by RBI. And what this ombudsman aims? Now, ombudsman is a self kind of jurisdiction in which any kind of fraud, corruption or malpractices are self-checked by such ombudsman body. It was first launched in Sweden, that is European country, and it became very successful. Then after its success, Government of India and Reserve Bank of India also launched ombudsman for the banking, that is banking ombudsman. Similarly, CAGI is a ombudsman for the government bodies. It looks into the public account expenditures made by government and also looks into the various kind of expenses on the public fund from the Government of India reserves. So therefore, ombudsman remains very important for transparency and accountability, again a part of good governance. So use this in your answer writing GS paper 3 and essays also. Now, survey to map informal sector. Labour Bureau has released a key survey, that is India's quarterly establishment based employment survey, and it's part of evidence based policy making. Why it was in news? So AKIS is All India Quarterly Establishment Based Employment Survey which looks into the matters of employability, unemployment, and provides a holistic data about the development of people in terms of their qualification and employment and their ratio to the unemployed people and rest of the country.